Have you ever felt like you are working very hard, trying your best, but the final results are still not what you expected? You stay up late working. You give up your rest time, you skip meals, you cancel plans with your family and friends, but your life seems to stand still. Nothing really changes. Maybe your salary stays the same year after year. Maybe your position at work never moves up. Maybe your skills do not improve, even though you spend so much time and energy. The frustration builds up inside. The disappointment grows stronger every day. The problem is not that you are lazy. It is also not that you lack intelligence or ability. Many times, the problem is just one thing: you are thinking too small. When your thinking is small, your actions become small. When your actions are small, your results stay small. This is a cycle that keeps many people stuck in the same place for years, even decades. The famous book, The Magic of Thinking Big, by David Schwartz, has a very direct statement that is surprisingly true. The size of your success is completely decided by the size of your thinking. Your mindset, your vision, and your beliefs shape your ability to achieve success in life. Because only when you have big thoughts can you have the motivation and methods to take strong action, overcome challenges, and reach big goals. Only then can you turn your dreams into reality. Welcome to Fluent English with Riadio, a channel that walks with you on your journey of personal growth and English improvement. Today, we will explore together 8 important lessons about the power of thinking big, and everything is arranged in a very clear path. When you apply this knowledge to your life, you can make big thinking not just a passing inspiration of one day. It will become your own habit. It will become part of who you are. Are you ready? Let's start. Lesson 1. Believe you can find a way. Belief is not just empty words or meaningless encouragement. Belief is like a thermostat in your house. When you set the temperature at a certain level, the machine automatically adjusts to reach that temperature. It does not matter if it is cold outside. It does not matter if someone opens a window. The thermostat keeps working to reach the temperature you set. Similarly, if you believe you only deserve an average life, your brain will automatically act just enough to maintain that level. Your brain will not look for better opportunities. It will not push you to learn new skills. It will not encourage you to take risks that could lead to bigger rewards. It will simply keep you comfortable where you are. But if you believe you can achieve more, achieve bigger things, your brain will start looking for opportunities, solutions, and ways to make it real. Your brain becomes like a radar, constantly scanning for anything that can help you reach your bigger goals. This is not magic. This is how your brain actually works. Scientists call it the reticular activating system. When you believe something is important and possible, your brain starts noticing things related to it everywhere. Have you ever decided to buy a certain car and then suddenly you see that car everywhere on the road? That is your brain's filtering system at work. You do not need to tell yourself, "I am the best person in the world." That may sound unrealistic and make you feel wrong. It may even make you feel worse because deep down you know it is not true. Instead, you just need to say one simple and honest sentence: I can learn and grow. This is also the core idea in Carol Dweck's research. She is a psychology professor at Stanford University. She calls this a growth mindset. People who believe they can learn and improve usually go further, not because they are better from the start, but because they do not give up when they face difficulties. In her studies, Dweck found something very interesting. Two groups of students were given the same difficult test. The first group was praised for being smart. The second group was praised for working hard. Later, when they faced even harder problems, the first group gave up quickly. They thought, maybe I am not as smart as I thought, but the second group kept trying. They believed effort would lead to improvement. The difference was just in what they believed about themselves. The students who believed they could grow through effort actually did grow. The students who believed their ability was fixed stayed at the same level. Here is a small thing you can do today. Change one sentence in your head. Every time you catch yourself saying, "I cannot do this," stop and replace it with, "I cannot do this yet, but I will find a way to learn." This small word, "yet," is very powerful. It changes your statement from final and hopeless to temporary and solvable. It opens the door to possibility. And here is the important thing you need to remember. You do not need to wait until you feel confident to start taking action. The reality is completely opposite. You take action first, and confidence will naturally follow. Confidence is not something you are born with. Confidence is something you build through taking action and getting results. Even small results count. Even tiny progress matters. Each time you do something you thought you could not do, your confidence grows a little bit. Lesson 2. Stop making excuses. Excuses are the enemy of big thinking. They are comfortable lies you tell yourself to avoid the discomfort of growth and change. Excuses weaken your growth mindset by creating temporary comfort. They prevent learning, development, and action. They turn big dreams into daydreams. They take away opportunities and block real success. Excuses are a sign of a fixed mindset when you avoid responsibility and are afraid to face challenges to develop yourself. Every time you make an excuse, you are choosing to stay where you are instead of moving forward. You are choosing comfort over growth. You are choosing temporary relief over long-term success. There are 4 common groups of excuses that most people have used. First is health. I am too tired. I do not have enough energy. I need to rest first before I can start working on my goals. Second is intelligence. I am not smart enough to do this. Other people are naturally better at this than me. I do not have the talent. Third is age. I am too young. I do not have experience yet. People will not take me seriously. Or, I am too old now. It is too late. I should have started years ago. Fourth is luck. I am not as lucky as other people. I do not have good connections. I was not born into the right family. I do not have the same advantages. Do you notice? These excuses sound very much like the truth. They seem reasonable and easy to accept. But in reality, they are just ways for you to justify staying in the same place, not changing. The tricky thing about excuses is that they contain a small grain of truth. Yes, you might be tired. Yes, you might not have as many connections as someone else. Yes, you might be older than the typical beginner. But these are just facts. They are not destiny. They do not determine your future unless you let them. Look at the story of Colonel Sanders. When he was over 60 years old, he had no money, no company, no connections. He only had a fried chicken recipe that he believed was special. Most people at that age are thinking about retirement. Most people would say, "It is too late for me to start a business." He was rejected hundreds of times when he introduced his food to restaurants. People told him his recipe was not good enough. People told him he was too old. People told him to give up and enjoy his retirement. But he did not stop. He kept going from restaurant to restaurant, from city to city. What was the result? From a person with nothing at an old age, he built KFC, a brand with tens of thousands of restaurants around the world. He became a global success symbol. His face became one of the most recognized faces in business history. His story proved that when you stop making excuses and start taking action, you can achieve success at any age, with any background. When you stop making excuses, your mindset shifts from a defensive state to a creative state. Instead of protecting yourself from failure, you start building toward success. Instead of explaining why things cannot work, you start finding ways to make things work. This creates a direct foundation for big thinking to achieve lasting success. Lesson 3. Action helps you beat fear. Here is the truth. Fear is always strongest at the moment before you start taking action. Fear lives in the imagination. When you sit and think about doing something difficult or unfamiliar, your mind creates hundreds of scenarios about what could go wrong. Your heart beats faster. Your palms get sweaty. Your stomach feels tight. All of this happens before you even start. The more you sit and think, the bigger fear becomes. You imagine hundreds of terrible scenarios that could happen. You imagine failing in front of everyone. You imagine making mistakes. You imagine being rejected or criticized. Fear feeds on waiting and thinking. But as soon as you start doing it, fear shrinks. Why? Because reality is almost always less scary than what you imagined. When you take action, you move from the world of imagination to the world of facts, and facts are usually much easier to handle than imagination. Imagine a person who is afraid of speaking in front of a crowd. If they constantly avoid presentation opportunities, that fear will grow bigger and bigger in their mind. Every time they think about public speaking, the fear multiplies. They imagine forgetting their words. They imagine people laughing. They imagine standing frozen on stage. The fear becomes like a monster in their head. But if they dare to stand up and speak once, even if they shake, even if they stumble, even if their voice cracks, something important happens. Most people in the audience actually want them to succeed. And then they speak a second time. It is still scary, but less scary than the first time. They speak a third time. Now they know what to expect. Their voice is steadier. Their hands shake less. Confidence will gradually increase and fear will decrease. The rule here is very simple. You do not wait until you are not afraid anymore to do it. You do it first, and you will naturally become less afraid. This is true for almost everything that scares you. Starting a difficult conversation with your boss. Applying for a better job. Learning a new skill. Starting your own business. The first step is always the hardest, but it also always makes the next step easier. Choose one thing that you are afraid of right now, Then, do the smallest, simplest version of it today. Just one small action, but it must be real. It must be specific. If you are afraid of networking, send one message to one person. Just one. If you are afraid of exercising, do 5 push-ups. Just 5. If you are afraid of writing, write 1 paragraph. Just 1. These tiny actions might seem too small to matter, but they break the ice. They prove to your brain that you can do it. They start building the habit of action instead of the habit of avoidance. When you dare to step out of your comfort zone and take action, you will discover potential, build confidence, and achieve bigger success in life. Even though you face fear and initial failure, this is the journey of growth. Lesson 4. Think like a leader. Leadership is a mindset that you can develop right now, no matter what job you have or where you are in your career. People with small thinking often ask, "Who did wrong? Who made me suffer like this? Whose fault is this?" They look for someone to blame, to criticize. They spend their energy on complaints and finger-pointing. When a project fails, they immediately start looking for someone to blame. When something goes wrong, their first reaction is to say, "It is not my fault." They focus on protecting themselves instead of fixing the problem. People with leadership thinking ask, "What can I do to improve this situation? What is within my control? What can I learn from this?" They focus on solutions instead of just focusing on problems. When a project fails, they ask, "What can we do differently next time? What did I personally do that contributed to this failure? How can I help fix this?" They take ownership even when the problem was not entirely their fault. This difference in thinking creates completely different results in life. The person who blames others stays stuck because they give away their power. If everything bad in your life is someone else's fault, then you have no power to change it. You are a victim waiting for others to change. But the person who takes responsibility keeps their power. They can always do something, even in a bad situation. Even if they only have 10% control over a situation, they focus on that 10% and do everything possible with it. Leadership means taking responsibility for your own actions and results. It means always focusing on what can be done instead of complaining about what cannot be changed. It means communicating clearly, transparently, and acting consistently. A true leader creates the best possible results with current conditions. A true leader does not say, "I will start when everything is ready." A true leader says, "I will start now and figure things out along the way." Here is a small thing you can do today. In every trouble, every difficulty you face, ask yourself just one question. What can I do to improve this situation? Not, what should other people do? Not, why did this happen to me? But, what can I personally do right now? Maybe you cannot solve the whole problem, but you can always do something. You can make one phone call. You can send one email. You can take one step forward. Focus on that action instead of the parts you cannot control. When you consistently think this way, people around you will notice. Your boss will notice that you solve problems instead of creating drama. Your colleagues will see you as someone reliable. Your friends will know you as someone who gets things done. A correct mindset will create vision, and action turns that vision into reality. This creates difference and success, but vision and mindset alone are not enough. You need something more practical. Lesson 5. Take action. Every day. Success rarely belongs to the person with the best ideas. Success usually comes to the person who starts doing and creates real results, even if they are very small at first. Many people have good ideas. They want to learn a foreign language. They want to change careers. They want to start their own project. They want to get healthy. They want to improve their relationships. But ideas that just stay in your head do not change your life. Think about how many great ideas you have had in the past year. Really think about it. How many times did you say, "I should really start doing that"? How many times did you get excited about a new possibility, and how many of those ideas actually turned into action? For most people, the answer is disappointing. 90% of ideas never become reality. They fade away. They get forgotten. They get replaced by new ideas that also never happen. The thing that creates difference is repeated action every day, not occasional action when you feel motivated. Not big bursts of effort that burn out quickly, but small, consistent actions that add up over time. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, has a powerful concept. He says that if you improve by just 1% every day, after 1 year, you will be 37 times better. How? Because improvement compounds like interest in a bank account. Each small improvement builds on the previous one. But the opposite is also true. If you get 1% worse every day, if you skip your good habits just a little bit each day, after 1 year, you will be almost back to zero. Small actions in the wrong direction also add up. Here is a small thing you can do today. Apply the 5-minute rule. If something can be done in 5 minutes, do it right away. Answer an email. Write down an idea. Listen to a short audio clip. Make that phone call. Send that message. Do not think more. Do not add it to a to-do list for later. Just do it immediately. This rule serves 2 purposes. First, it prevents small tasks from piling up and becoming overwhelming. Second, it builds the habit of immediate action instead of procrastination. For bigger tasks that cannot be done in 5 minutes, do not look at the whole job. Do not think about all the steps required. Do not calculate how long it will take. This kind of thinking paralyzes you before you even start. Break it into very small steps. Just set a deadline for the first step today. Not next week. Not when you have motivation. Not when conditions are perfect. But today. If you want to write a book, do not think about writing 300 pages. Just write 200 words today. If you want to start a business, do not think about the whole business plan. Just research one competitor today. If you want to learn a language, do not think about becoming fluent. Just learn 5 new words today. These small steps might seem insignificant, but they create momentum. They prove to yourself that you are the kind of person who takes action. They build the identity of a doer instead of a dreamer. And here is a secret that successful people know. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You do not need to wait for motivation to strike. You start with a small action and motivation appears while you are working. Lesson 6. Stay close to the right people. There is a very famous saying by Jim Rohn, You are the average of the 5 people you meet most often. This is not just a nice quote. This is backed by research and real-life observations. The people around you shape your thinking, your beliefs, your habits, and your standards. They influence what you think is normal. They affect what you think is possible. They impact what you believe you deserve. If you live in an environment where everyone criticizes, complains, or speaks negatively, then your big thinking will have a hard time sprouting and growing. When everyone around you says, "That is impossible," or "Do not even try," or "People like us do not do that," these words sink into your mind. They become your own thoughts. When your friends constantly talk about how bad the economy is, how unfair the system is, how lucky other people are, you start thinking the same way. When your family always focuses on what could go wrong instead of what could go right, you become cautious and afraid to take any risks. This is also similar to saying your thinking is the average of the 5 types of content you consume most every day. What do you read? What do you watch? What do you listen to? If you spend hours every day consuming negative news, celebrity gossip, and mindless entertainment, that becomes the input for your thinking. But if you spend time reading books by successful people, listening to podcasts about growth and improvement, watching videos that teach you valuable skills, your thinking changes. Your standards rise. Your goals become bigger. You do not need to completely cut off everyone. That would be extreme and unnecessary. Your old friends are not bad people. Your family loves you. But you need to reduce time with people who are pulling you down and increase time with people who make you think bigger and more positively. This does not mean being cruel or arrogant. It simply means being intentional about your time and energy. You have limited hours in a day. You have limited mental and emotional energy. Spend them wisely. You can find out who is really affecting your thinking by doing a simple exercise. Write down the names of 5 people you meet and interact with most. Include family, friends, colleagues, anyone you spend significant time with. Then, mark who is pulling you up and who is pulling you down. Be honest. Who encourages your goals? Who believes in your potential? Who celebrates your wins? These people are pulling you up. Who criticizes your dreams? Who gets uncomfortable when you try to grow? Who makes jokes about your ambitions? These people are pulling you down. Then, adjust your schedule and time accordingly. Spend more time with the first group. Find ways to limit time with the second group. This might be uncomfortable at first. You might feel guilty, but your future self will thank you. And if you do not currently have 5 people who pull you up, actively search for them. Join groups related to your goals. Attend events, take classes, use online communities. Read books by people you admire. The authors become your virtual mentors. Warren Buffett has a powerful practice. He carefully chooses who he spends time with. He once said, "It is better to hang out with people better than you." Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you will drift in that direction. But no matter how good the environment is, it is still not enough. You need one more thing to go far and last long. That is discipline. Lesson 7. Build discipline with small wins. Discipline does not mean forcing yourself to the point of exhaustion. Discipline does not mean being harsh or punishing yourself. Discipline is doing the things that need to be done, even when you do not want to do them. There will be days when you do not feel like working on your goals. There will be mornings when you want to sleep in instead of exercising. There will be evenings when you want to watch TV instead of studying. This is normal. This is human. Motivation comes and goes like waves. But disciplined people do the work anyway, not because they feel like it, not because it is fun, but because they committed to it. Because it moves them closer to their goals, because it is part of who they are. But if you start too big, set goals too high from the beginning, you will easily give up. Your willpower is like a muscle. If you try to lift too much weight on the first day, you will hurt yourself and quit. Instead, start with small wins. Make your initial commitments so easy that you cannot fail. Make them so simple that you have no excuse not to do them. For example, instead of setting a goal to wake up at 5 a.m. immediately, start by waking up 15 minutes earlier than now. Just 15 minutes. Anyone can do that. After 1 week, wake up another 15 minutes earlier. Gradually, work your way to your target time. Instead of reading 1 book per week, start with 5 pages per day. Just 5 pages. That takes maybe 10 minutes. You can do that before bed. You can do that during lunch break. The goal is so small that you cannot justify skipping it. When you do these small things consistently, you are sending a powerful message to your brain. I am a person who keeps promises. I am a person who does what I say. I am reliable. This is when your identity starts to change. Your actions create a new identity, and this new identity will guide your next actions. You become someone who exercises. You stop being someone who wants to read. You become a reader. B.J. Fogg, a behavior scientist at Stanford University, teaches this concept. He says that lasting behavior change comes from starting small, celebrating tiny wins, and letting your identity evolve naturally. When discipline has started working, you need one more thing to not fall behind. That is continuous learning. Lesson 8. Keep learning and keep improving. The world is changing faster than any period before. The skills that give you an advantage today may be outdated in just a few years. Technology advances. Markets shift. New methods replace old methods. What worked 5 years ago might not work now. If you stop learning, you are not just standing still. You are falling behind. Why? Because everyone else is moving forward. Your competitors are learning. Your colleagues are upgrading their skills. The standards keep rising. But learning does not mean you have to cram or force yourself too much every day. Learning does not mean going back to school full-time or spending all your free time studying. The thing that creates difference is not learning a lot at once, but learning regularly and without interruption. Consistency beats intensity. Reading 15 minutes every day for a year will teach you more than reading 10 hours once a month. Practicing a skill for 20 minutes daily will make you better than practicing for 5 hours on weekends only. A very clear example is Warren Buffett. Even though he is already one of the richest people in the world, he still spends most of his time every day reading and learning. He reads approximately 500 pages per day. He does not learn because he lacks money or knowledge. He learns because he understands that if he stops, he will fall behind. He once said, "The more you learn, the more you earn." And he lives by this principle every single day. This habit of regular learning helps him keep his advantage for many decades. While other investors make emotional decisions based on current trends, Buffett makes informed decisions based on deep knowledge. Another example is Bill Gates. Even after retiring from Microsoft, he continues learning. He reads about 50 books per year. He takes detailed notes. He tests ideas. He never stops being curious. This constant learning keeps his mind sharp and his thinking relevant. You do not need to do something as big as that. You just need to start with very small things. Here is something you can do today. Commit to reading 10 pages of a book every day, or spend 15 minutes learning a new skill. It can be a foreign language. It can be a professional skill related to your job. It can be something completely new that you always wanted to try. It can be something you always said, "I will do later." The important thing is not how much you learn in one session. The important thing is whether you come back tomorrow or not. Will you read 10 pages again tomorrow? Will you practice for 15 minutes again the day after that? When you repeat it long enough, progress will appear quietly. You will not notice it right away in 1 week or 1 month. The changes are too small to see day by day. But one day, you will look back and see you have gone much further than the person who gave up halfway. You will look back and realize you finished 12 books this year while others finished none. You will realize you can now do things that seemed impossible a few months ago. You will realize the gap between you and your old self has grown significantly. This is the power of compound learning. Just like compound interest grows your money slowly at first and then rapidly, compound learning grows your abilities the same way. The effects are small in the beginning, but they accelerate over time. And here is an important point. Learn from many sources. Do not just read books, listen to podcasts during your commute. Watch educational videos, take online courses, attend workshops, learn from mentors, learn from people ahead of you. But also learn from your own experience. Reflect on your actions. What worked? What did not work? Why? Keep a journal. Write down lessons. Review them regularly. Your own experience is one of the best teachers. The most successful people are not necessarily the smartest people. They are the people who never stop learning, never stop improving, never stop adapting. Thinking big can completely change your life. We have covered 8 powerful lessons about thinking big. Let's review them quickly. First, believe you can find a way. Your belief sets the thermostat for your success. Second, stop making excuses. Excuses keep you small and stuck. Third, take action to beat fear. Fear shrinks when you move forward. Fourth, think like a leader. Focus on solutions, not blame. Fifth, take action every day. Small, consistent steps create big results. Sixth, stay close to the right people. Your environment shapes your thinking. Seventh, build discipline with small wins. Start easy, build the habit, increase intensity. Eighth, keep learning and improving. Never stop growing. If you can only remember one sentence from today's video, remember this: your life does not naturally become better. Your life only gets better when you decide to change, and change starts with how you think. Big thinking is not about being unrealistic or living in fantasy. Big thinking is about seeing possibilities instead of only seeing limitations. If your current goal is to get a small raise, write down a goal to double your income. If your goal is to lose a few pounds, write down a goal to completely transform your health. If your goal is to learn basic conversation in a language, write down a goal to become fluent. Does this bigger goal scare you a little? Good, that means it is big enough to push you to grow. Then take the smallest step today to start. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. What is one tiny action you can do in the next hour? Do that action before you go to bed tonight. Remember, you do not need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You do not need to know exactly how you will achieve your big goal. You just need to know the next small action. Take that action, then the next action will reveal itself. If you found this video helpful, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fluent English with Radio. Join me on this journey of personal growth and learning English every day. And if you want, leave a comment below. What area do you want to think big in? Work, money, health, or learning new skills? Share your goal. Writing it down makes it more real. Sharing it creates accountability, and seeing other people's goals might inspire you. Thank you for watching. Remember, the power to think big is already inside you. You just need to give yourself permission to use it. See you in the next video.